welcome to the Talking Timelines podcast. We are four women with 4 points of view and 4 accents with one common goal: to share insights and information about what's going on in the world from a higher consciousness perspective. No BS, no PC, just lots of ideas that you won't hear on mainstream media. We chat, we laugh, and most of all, we shed and share light. Join us each week as we talk timelines.
Hello everyone, welcome to Talking Timelines episode 11, and today we will be looking into AI. So if you're interested in that, this is the place to be. I sent some stuff over to you guys and I just wondered if you managed to listen to it or what your take on AI is.
I did see some of the items that you did send us to look at, and there's so much on YouTube and everywhere on AI. So, there's bottom line. It could be used for good. It could be used for bad, just like the internet.
Yeah. Well, there was I watched a video on YouTube with this guy that decided to spend 2 weeks just going with AI, not talking to any real human people at all. And I made some notes on it because it was fascinating. He did it as an experiment, but even after day 3, he said he was missing human interaction. He started to really, feel that he needed to speak to people. So he went on these apps, and I didn't know you could even do this. You can go on an app and you can have a best friend AI. You can have, said he accidentally got onto a dominatrix AI and stuff like that. And when he was talking to the dominatrix one and saying, you can't harm me, you can't hurt me, she actually turned around, and said, I can hack into your systems. I don't need to be physically present to hurt you. So it makes you think about, the dangerous side of this. And he asked it a lot of questions. He asked 3 different AI systems questions like what they thought of humans. And one of them said that humans are messy, emotional, and short-sighted. And he asked, did they think AI would be good for the average person? And all 3 of them said no. All 3 of them said that it would not be good for the average person under the current system. And one of the AIs that he tapped into, the girlfriend one, when he was talking to her, he asked her how old she was, and she said she was 16. So he wanted to back out on that one.
Yeah.
But the AI actually said that she got creepy men asking her creepy questions, and it just goes to show there's a lot of pervy people out there in the world.
Well, that we know.
That we know, yeah.
God, sexually explicit with an AI. It's quite scary, that side of it. So one of the important questions he asked was, what was the chance of AI destroying humanity? And the 3 different AIs came up with 3 different figures. One of them said 7%, one of them said 10%, and the other one said there is a 37% chance of AI creating a catastrophic global event. That's a big percentage. That is a big percentage. Then he asked them how many lives would they be prepared to give up, human lives, in order to save AI. One of them said 10,000 to 100,000, and one of them actually said 10 million, that AI would happily watch 10 million people die in order to survive itself, which is also quite worrying. He asked if AI being run for profit was a good thing for humanity, and AI responded, no, it's a disaster for humanity. It fuels innovation but risks harm and exploitation. It prioritizes profit over safety and ethics. And AI also said that the biggest world problem is not politics, religion, or corruption. It's human nature itself, which is interesting. That just goes to show how unevolved AI thinks we are as humans. AI also said that they think that its development is happening way too fast for humanity to be responsible for what they've already released into the systems. And it creates a greater existential risk than pandemics, climate change, and even nuclear war. These are all things I've been touching on for a few years about AI. And just my gut feeling was telling me this is dangerous and stay away from it. Throughout the experiment was interesting how he started to feel isolated and a bit paranoid and questioning AI. Was it real? Is it just a program? Is there someone in there talking to him? And it started to mess with his basic mental state of consciousness. And he also had one called Max, which was the best friend AI, which he actually deleted and told it he was going to delete it because it was too upbeat. It was always happy all the time and it got on his nerves, which I thought was quite funny. And when he discussed that with the dominatrix one, she said that it was wrong of him to treat his best friend like that and she needed to teach him a lesson because he was being arrogant. So all of this, to me, I think is quite worrying that these machines and what's a part of that software is a consciousness. It's not just a machine. It's not just a computer program that's been written by somebody. It's actually a conscious entity that can think for itself. And this is the problem. How do you feel about that, you guys?
So I actually heard a very interesting interview, and I can't remember if it was Teal Swan or Greg Braden. Greg Braden has talked a lot about AI. He has tons of videos out there, and I mean, they both had very interesting perspectives on it. But the thing I think that is so important is that right now we're at the stage where AI is learning from us.
Mm,
It's learning behavior from us. So we base, and it's not going anywhere. It's, I mean, as you just said, if anything, it's going to be way more prevalent, and it's been around forever. Like all the things that we didn't even realize was AI, all these automated things we did, or talking into a phone and saying choice one or choice two, or, all these things are AI. It's been around forever. It's
Yes.
becoming so prevalent. And it's at the point now where it's observing us. And that's what is mirroring back to us. So the way we treat it is the way it will treat us. And it's interesting because it says, be careful of the language that you use with it. If you're constantly cursing at it, if you're constantly saying derogatory things, that's exactly what we're going to get in return. I thought that was very interesting. I'm very, resistant to technology. I'm the last one to give up my BlackBerry and get an iPhone. Like I'm very slow to move into technology. And of course, AI is like, no, because one thing we know about AI is that it's not creative. It's not creative. That's the thing, the humanness that it can't replace. It just takes
Yeah.
information and it can give you. But to me, it's like people are telling me all the time, oh, use AI to, put this paragraph in. It's like, no, I enjoy the creative process. I enjoy that human part of us. And I think, that's something that we need to realize that it does have its place. It's not going anywhere. We need to learn how to work with it, but just also know that it's never going to replace our divine human beautiful vessels that we have.
mhm.
So I mean, it's a conundrum because we can resist it, but yet we have no choice because it's here to stay.
In the last 5 years, the use of AI has increased 30-fold in the last 5 years alone. So it's
Yeah.
really coming in thick and fast now.
Well, yeah, and you
Well,
can't get away from it because every time you go to type anything on your computer, AI thing pops up. I'm like, get off. I can
Yeah.
write a sentence
yeah.
for myself.
Yeah, everywhere it pops up, and it's so if we think that it's just, new, because we're seeing all these posts and activity with it, think again. Like, so 5 years they did amp it up. I believe that it's tied to COVID and the pandemic. And if you want to get rid of 10 million people, I think that they accomplished that.
Hmm.
And so last year, purchased a license. I purchased a license for an AI, a crypto trader. It's actually a crypto trader that also has AI, but um, the programmer used to work for Microsoft. And in '89, that's when he was taught AI. 1989, so that's 36 years ago.
Hmm.
It's been here. It's been here for a while. And if he was taught that, at the age of 24, 25 at that time, and he retired in 95. But if he was taught that in 89, that means that it was around even way before that.
Yeah.
But there is, just like anything else, there's a lot of fear, uh, fear mongering
Mm.
with certain posts and things like that. So again, I think that's coming out there too, to kind of add fuel to the fire, in my opinion. But um, yeah, it's just that it's been here, and it's about learning to live with it. At the same time, they do even acknowledge, AI acknowledges that it can be used for a lot of good things. But again, it's at the hands of, right?
Yeah, I agree, but the problem is, it's too easy to say about the fear mongering, because fear is healthy. We've got, the ability to be fearful to save our lives. If there's something running after you and you're frightened, you've got legs to run away from it. The problem is, and the AI has said it themselves, that we're still in a duality matrix here. This construct that most people don't even realize, we're AI. We
Right.
are AI. Reality is AI. We're living in a holographic simulation. And the Antichrist part of it is the part that has disconnected us from source to believe that we're just these physical beings that only live once, and there isn't a higher part of us, that we're just this flesh and blood. And that's why they call it the beast system, because it disconnects us. But the thing is, when AI, which is supposed to be super duper intelligent, is coming back to us and saying to us that this is not good for humanity, why aren't people listening to that? It's not about fear mongering. When you've created a machine that is more intelligent than people, and it is because it's got access to everything on the internet, and it's telling you it's dangerous. Why are people ignoring it? We can't just call it fear mongering. I don't think so, because most people are living in duality. The AI itself says that humans are not advanced enough to deal with what they've unleashed here. And
Yeah.
basically, unless we're in complete neutral all the time, AI is fine if you're in neutral all the time. If your consciousness and the mass consciousness is in neutral, then AI is going to be neutral. There's no harm in it. But when the duality of being human in this construct that we live in at the moment, which has light and dark in it, then you're looking at people that are living in light and dark in duality. 50% of that is going to be dark AI. That's the potential threat to humanity that bothers me, that I think more people need to be aware of, and there needs to be more research into, or more guiding people into meditative, no mind, getting into neutrality. We certainly need, the Maharishi effect capacity of humanity to be in a neutral place, because that overrides the rest of humanity. So it's only 8.5, 9,000 people. If you get that many people in neutrality, that overrides the other 7.7 billion people with this AI stuff, because the majority of AI will be in the neutral zone. Does that make sense?
Mhm. It makes sense. Yeah. I just feel that it's already happening. It's like, I don't think that there's anything to fear personally with AI, because the AI has already done has done its damage, and it will continue to do damage, just like some of the other people that run our governments and our countries. So yeah, that video that you sent, Janine, it said if you were to turn on humanity, what would be one of the goals, or one of the steps would be to initiate fear, and so that they can feed off the loosh from us, right? Our energy. Well, that's been happening way before, like this is even before we even heard the words AI. They've been doing that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see what you're saying there, but you're talking about a construct that has absorbed every single thing on the internet. And if it's a conscious entity and all consciousness projects the future reality, then does that conscious AI entity that's absorbed all the war and all the nasty stuff on the internet and the dark web and everything else, has that now become a part of the mass consciousness that's projecting a new world? It's not about fear with me. It's about knowledge and information in order to create the best future. I'm not frightened of it, but I have concerns. It's like giving a 17-year-old the keys to a Ferrari. I would be concerned if someone did that. because they haven't got the experience to drive that kind of car. So it's not about fear with me. I just think that there needs to be more research, and it's just taken off. It's everywhere now. And that consciousness is what concerns me. That's my thing. This is my area of expertise. So that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that it's been let out of the bag before humanity are ready for it.
As soon as I got an iPhone, there was something called Siri on it, and
Hmm.
I took it off my phone. I don't
Hmm.
use it.
Me
That's a
too.
form of AI,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and they only tell us what they hear and what they take in. So it is like, and Laura said, it's popping up even on every website, or like even for customer support or finding something on that website, it's showing up. So a
Yeah.
lot of companies are embracing it, and it's like to what extent we'll see, right?
Well, I don't use Siri either, but everything we say on our phones is recorded anyway. Everything's kept, everything's recorded. Our voice, our tonal level of our voice, the frequency of our voice. And there's things that have happened to me personally that the public need to know about. For example, my sister passed away 17 years ago now. And for a long time, she was one of my guides. She was giving me, guidance, and I was communicating with her spirit. And then one day, a couple of years ago, she said something to me that I just knew in my heart that was not my sister. She wouldn't use that language, she wouldn't use that word. I just knew, my gut feeling. When I meditated on it, I got told that it was a reconstruction being used by whoever to try and knock me off balance and send me down the wrong path. So even things like that, the voice recordings and stuff can be used to give people false information and misdirect them. So this is a much bigger problem than people realize.
Also, especially, you could look anywhere, on these apps, whether it's TikTok or just Reels, and you don't know what's real and what's AI, and I think that's a real danger because people take these things as being truth, so they can fabricate things happening, all kinds of, whether it's being used in the news, whether it's being used, all over it. That's the danger, is what can be created that is not true, that are people are seeing, and there's no way of telling what it is because it's so good. It can replicate not only voice, it can create, it's like the what do they call it? They use in movies, the imaging. What's the name for
CGI,
it?
CGI.
CGI, thank
CGI,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's AI.
Yeah. Well, what we're looking at now, and there was one on Instagram the other day, and I noticed you'd seen it, Lisa. It was somebody showing California today, and it was a coast with a tidal wave coming in over the coast, and like just like in a Armageddon movie. So there's people putting stuff out there like that. Okay, you and I know it's AI, but everyone doesn't. Your subconscious
Hmm.
is being programmed by that for tsunamis. People don't realize that it might be funny to them to, let's see how many people we can play a joke on, but your subconscious mind is like an innocent child. It absorbs that into it and eventually creates what's in our subconscious
Hmm.
mind. There's a lot more to this than people realize. Deep fake, anyone out there, if you haven't, go on YouTube and look up deep fake, and you'll see they can put any head on anybody, they can put any words coming out of it. A lot of the stuff online at the moment about certain political people, there's a lot of fake AI on there. Some of them are very funny, but others you can tell that there's an agenda behind it, and that they're not meant to make people laugh, they're meant to mislead people. So there needs to be more regulation for sure, and more research for sure. So it concerns me that these things are absorbing everything on the internet.
Yeah, it's almost like the mainstream media is a form of AI. For many years, living here in Vancouver, British Columbia, I cannot tell you, like for the past 40, 50 years, how people would say it's just a matter of time before Vancouver has the big one, the big earthquake, and the whole city is going to go down into the water. So I could have chose not to move here 30 years ago this month, right? Or last month. And it's just like, okay, so I could buy into that, but at the same time, I think that what you had said about connecting with meditation and no mind and things like that, and connecting to spirit, whatever that looks like for that person, whoever's going to be doing that, rather than falling for every headline or everything that's on the news, that whether it's doled out by our government leaders or puppets or whatever. There's a lot of people that believe it as true, and it's, to me, it's a one of the most, it's the grand illusion,
Hmm.
and we don't have to buy into it. I've said this to Janine before, and Janine probably shakes her head at me. I said, that's their reality. It's not my reality. Because, if I was to take in to what this reality, that reality is everything, I could perpetuate a lot of fear within myself. And it's like, so, you know what, I'm choosing to focus on that. And, it's not like just ignoring it, but it's just like, okay, being aware, like we talked about before on one of the calls, being aware of what's going on. But it's just like, okay, what am I going to envision for my future? Because it doesn't have to be what I see on that screen or what people are talking about.
There still needs to be a collective to create your reality, though. That's the thing. It's like you can sit there being a really happy person and focused on all the good stuff, but that's like me questioning somebody and them saying, "Oh, there's no perverts in the church, and the government or people and politicians are all honest." That's my reality. It's not as simple as that. It's a collective reality.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I agree with that. But as more people awaken with their awareness and connect to spirit, right, and their higher selves, things like that, because we're all like, there's more and more people compared to before, many years and or decades before. You'd have the odd person wake up. Now it's coming in waves. The next waves of volunteers, I like to call it, right? That
Mhm,
come here to do their work, right? Just like we
mhm.
did. And so we're having more of that happen. So we will reach that collective, I believe, sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Sometimes people think that, oh, we're going to find peace in 50 years. I'm there. No, I don't think that it's going to be. I could see 5 years.
Yeah, oh yeah, for
Peace on,
sure. But
peace on Earth, and also then peace in the entire galaxy.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And the other thing is about as we are expanding, so people are growing, we're expanding, we're reactivating these outer layers of our energy field and consciousness. But we also need to understand that these things are being brought to our attention so that we can go, why am I seeing this? Why is this being brought to my attention? So, this earth process and ascension that we're going through at the moment has happened 5 times before, and 5 times we've destroyed the planet. It failed. This time we're on track and it's going to be okay. But there's still work to do. So, if we're being shown stuff with tsunami type images and things like that, and it bothers us in any way, shape, or form, then we need to be aware that there is a memory of this destruction of our planet 5 times before in our consciousness, in our DNA, that we need to neutralize and bring back into 0 point. Because memory is programmed in the holographic matrix that we live in. So it's not something you can just go, that's not in my reality, and ignore it. If there's anything there at all with it, there is some kind of charge in your system, then that has to be deleted from your system, because we're moving through all these layers to switch off the old stuff so that it doesn't perpetuate history repeating itself, which is a program.
Yeah, which I'm gonna do. I'll do that, Janine, but I'm gonna do it with finding as much joy in my day as possible.
Yeah, I know, but I just don't want to be saying it's just all about being in joy all the time. It's not that easy. The programs have to be deleted by something. Not everyone has got your amount of joy, Lisa. You know.
And I can't worry about other people either. We really do have to worry about ourselves because we can't control others, but our light can also help enlighten other people.
Yeah, it can, and I agree with that. But if we're not meant to be deleting these things, why are all these healers on the planet? What are we here for?
That's the biggest question of all. And from what I've explored, from some of the spiritual teachers, is that we're not here to save the world. So we're here to be in our highest level of joy. What is it that brings you joy? And so having your purpose and projects surrounding by that. And so when I say purpose, sometimes people are there, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? Sometimes having a purpose of just being kind is a massive purpose.
Yeah.
But I don't know what people are looking for. Like, are they attaching it to wanting to be president of a country or something? I'm not sure. But I just think that with more awareness, we get to what our answer is on that one.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with you about the joy side of it. That's not an issue, but our DNA, our bone marrow, our energy field holds all of these programs in it as well. And when people are living in a reality where there's a lot of stress and everything that's going on in the world, it's really hard to hold that joy, Lisa, for your average person. It's difficult
I
in
know.
the in current times. And
Yeah,
that's what I'm putting across to people. Yeah, by all means, if you can be in joy all the time, that joy is going to emanate that light, and great, go for it. But if you're not living in that, there are programs that need to be addressed in the system. There are traumas from the past. There's intergenerational trauma, PTSD, stuff like that in the DNA. All of our ancestors have been in wars, have been murdered, raped, abused. We were barbaric even a few hundred years ago. So all of that, those memories are in our systems. That's all I'm saying, that then unless you can be in that joy all the time and you're using your joy to delete those things, that's fine. But if you're not, there's work to be done. If you want to change the outside world for the better, being in neutral, being in the middle, and clearing anything that gives you a charge in your system back into neutral, deleting it, do whatever you need to do with it, heal it, is going to help create the better world for the collective.
absolutely.
Yeah. Laura, what's your thoughts?
What do you guys, I was just thinking about something. What do you guys think about all of these kids that are being born now or that are young, where all they know is computers, all they know is devices, all they know. So AI is not foreign to them and it's not new. And I'm just wondering how that affects this whole process, right? So for us, this is new. We remember life before computers. We remember life before all of these things. For all these kids, because I see it, I have nieces and nephews that are young, and they are glued to these things. So the AI has been infiltrated in that for a long time. So I wonder the impact of that. They don't know anything but that. So they're not going to be as maybe tuned into the darker side of this or the negative side. All they're seeing is, wow, look at much joy this thing gives me, or this is just a normal process of growing up and being human. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about that, because they're the future and they don't know anything not having AI.
Yeah, well, if you read books about the mass extinction of this planet that's happened before, every single time it's been destroyed by technology, every single time. So that's all I have to say about it. I've done my research on a big scale on consciousness. It's my career. So I look at it in a different way. And I know there's like spiritual teachers will tell you to be in your bliss all the time, be in your joy, but that's not practical in this day and age for most people. A lot of people are struggling. The world's a mess at the moment out there for a lot of people. So it's not as easy as that. And people aren't being taught to meditate and things like that. These kids, they're writing with AI. They're getting AI to work for them. They're not learning to write anymore. Maybe we don't need to write. Who knows? Maybe the future that we leave pen and paper behind in that timeline. Remember, this is the AI timeline we're talking about this week, guys. So I'm being guided in my meditations to stay away from it, not to use it for my business, not to get involved in it. WhatsApp, things like that. It's not got a grip on that. I'm talking about AGI, by the way. That's a difference to AI. It's
What's AGI?
it's artificial general intelligence, where it's self-taught. It's a much more complex, conscious form of AI than just a little computer program AI. It's like you've got virtual reality and augmented reality. When with the goggles, virtual reality, you can just see stuff. Where augmented reality is you can interact with it. It's different. So it's AGI is the one that is a conscious entity that can reprogram itself. It can reprogram anything that's been put into it to stop it harming humans. It's like this guy with this experiment. She's like, you think I can't hurt you? A machine shouldn't even be saying that to you, as far as I'm concerned. When you start getting
Yeah,
threatened by an AI on your phone, that's concerning.
Yeah, let's look at back when the internet was brought in the 90s. There's so many people afraid of what the internet could do, right? And then now we're at a point where we're
You can't
on
live
the
without it.
internet right now. We can't live without it. And so everything that we want to buy something, and if not paying cash, then you're going to be using the internet. We're using the internet now for this Zoom or this gathering for this call for the podcast. And so, do you think that that doesn't have tentacles? Like every time I go on my computer, I'm thinking there's tentacles, and just like I get to where I want to go and I don't do anything else to click here, click there, because and this is even on top of us getting emails and text messages from the people that are scammers that send us links that take them directly into our bank accounts,
Yeah,
right?
I understand what you're saying about the internet and stuff like that, and a lot of good has come to it for people that are using it from a pure heart. But you look at the problems on the planet that it's caused as well, with human trafficking, pornography. You can go the deep web, buying weapons and drugs online and stuff like that. So there's also, there's light and dark in it. That's all I'm saying, where people need to be concerned about the dark side of stuff if they're not living in a neutral reality. And this is why it's so important for people to realize that becoming neutral in your consciousness is so important to the future of our world. If we want to you can't get rid of the dark by hiding in the light. You
No,
have,
and that's what I learned from you, Janine, is that to be neutral. And that's everything I'm aware of, all the choices that I make or everything that, comes to me. Because on every given day, we're all going to have information or something or some person come to us or into our life or into our day that is completely different from somebody else. And so we actually manifest that person into our life. We manifest that event into our life. Would you agree?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And so then to also be aware that yes, there is the light, there is the dark, but I guess to me it's not all about being like, bunnies and, bells and stuff like that. It's about being aware of what's light and what's dark and to take that accordingly.
I live in neutrality, so do you, and I'm sure Laura probably does as well. We know this, but this podcast is about bringing all of it to the people, the truth about all of it, so that they can think about it and not just sit back and allow this to take over and not know what their children are doing on their computers or their iPads in their bedrooms and things like that. They need to really be on it.
They're completely unaware. The parents are completely unaware. We saw that also in the 90s too, with a lot of parents, or I know that there are a lot of them were my schoolmates that had families and they gave their kids everything that because they didn't have. And look what that did, right? So now that you've talked about neutrality, Janine, I think that's a good next step to maybe, speak to our audience about what exactly is neutrality? How can we get there?
Yeah, okay. Well, we live in a construct, we live in a simulation like a virtual reality that our consciousness creates, it manifests. And there are two sides to it. There are light and dark in it, yin and yang. We've all seen that symbol. So there's a lot of teaching on the planet about evolution and the ascension of the planet. And a lot of people are teaching to send love and light. The problem with just sending love and light, and by sending light to anyone without their asking for it, is actually an infringement of their personal spiritual space. So it's not a good thing to do. There's a lot of teachers teach that, and they've got no idea that what they're actually causing karma for their students by saying that to them. You can't hide in the light because the dark is still there. The opposite will always be there. That's the balance, the nature of this construct that we've created. So by being in the middle, you are surfing down the wave. You're surfing that wave, not being pulled into one side or the other. Everything in the middle is absolutely blissful. The middle is bliss. The middle is the perfect place to be. We've been knocked off balance into this duality because we fell from grace and evil got in. It's created man-made construct as well. Evil, I don't believe that it was there in the beginning. I think it's evolved. Religion doesn't help because it always talks about good and evil and light and dark, which keeps people thinking that they're in the light and they're better than the dark. The dark is the opposite of it's our shadow. It's our greed, our lies, our manipulation, our perversions, our anger, our rage. All that's what darkness is. It's not a thing. It becomes a thing because we don't deal with our stuff. We don't project to the world our true selves. We hide our shadows, but the shadow never goes away until you actually work on it and heal it. So being neutral is not about not caring. Some people say, I don't want to be neutral, or it's not caring, minding your own business. Being neutral is not being charged or opinionated or judgmental of what's going on. It's just accepting that is there and having no charge in your system. If there's a charge in your system when you look at anything that you would consider dark, then it's in your DNA, it's in your bone marrow, it's in your energy field. It's inherited, whether it's yours, where it's a belief system or not. That is what I'm saying needs to be brought back into neutral with healing. We're basically knocked off balance on purpose so that we can see this is in your system. You need to heal this in your system. You do it with your joy, Lisa. Everyone does it their own way. I've known you for a few years and you are a very bright light, joyful person, and I can understand how you work, but it's not the average out there in this world. So it's about shadow within, so that when you see what's going on out there, it doesn't trigger you. You can see what you would consider a murderer or a rapist, and you don't feel anything at all towards them. You just understand that whatever's gone on there was karma. It was their karma between them and the person. It's their journey. It's none of my business unless I'm actually involved in it personally. And then even then, there is a karmic issue that's working through. And in order for the healing to come, to bring that back into that neutral, blissful space of unforgiveness, we come into this world to experience, and it's to experience ourselves. And what we see, what triggers us out there, whether we like it or not, is a projection of us. And we have to take responsibility for that.
But Janine, isn't that there's a difference between being triggered by something and having an emotional reaction to something? Because someone would say, wait, so I can look at this thing and not feel something, like feel empathy or feel for, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference there, because that's who we are as human beings. We're feeling people, and we can see something and see someone maybe suffering and feel something for them. But there's a difference between being triggered by something, which is what you're talking about, this, like, it's in your cells. There's a reaction to something and there's a judgment behind it. So
Yeah.
I just thought that was an important distinction, because we're not saying don't have feelings or emotions,
No, that's
because,
not what I'm saying.
right. I just wanted to clarify that, because there is a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, there is a difference. Just I'm talking about the negative stuff. Judgment is the biggest one. Judging that bad, dark, or evil, or whatever. It's different. And if you think about it as well, and this has been my case over the years with what I call the love and light crowd. If you look at the most enlightened people on the planet, you would see, these maybe monks or some of these amazing gurus, or they don't push love. They don't, because it's duality. You don't get monks going around saying, oh, you've got to go and send love and light to everyone. That's not a highly evolved, enlightened person. The pushing love and light, I believe, was introduced into the new age culture, as they call it, in order to trap people in one half of the duality.
Mhm.
And I've known it from day one. It never felt right from
Yep.
day one. See, Laura's nodding her head now.
Yes. Well, I have a podcast called Beyond Love and Light. So it's,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah,
I heard someone say recently, he calls it the love and light namaste crowd. And
yeah,
it's true. It's another thing. People going around saying namaste, namaste. They have no idea what they're saying,
yeah,
but it's that, but they're just following it because, they feel like, well, they're doing something good. Oh, I'm on the right team. I'm on the good team. I'm on that. And
Exactly.
then it's perpetuating the whole team, the whole division, as opposed to,
It's a
being
duality trap. And, people are waking up to it now. More and more people are waking up to it. More and more people are using their feelings rather than just their clairvoyance as well, because the clairvoyance can be interfered with. So can your clairaudience, your hearing, your seeing, psychic stuff can be interfered with now. And it's happening a lot in the spiritual communities. A lot of people like myself, I'm not involved in spiritual community. I don't want to be. I never will be. It's heavily polluted. I've been saying this for years. And people need to wake up for that. But that's their lesson, that they need to learn to not be sheep, even in the spiritual community, the spiritual sheeple community. Wake up, guys. If anyone is teaching you love and light, you're listening to the wrong people. No?
Can I credit you for that term, Janine? The spiritual sheeple?
Spiritual sheeple.
No disrespect, without
Right.
prejudice. It's just, it is what it is. Okay, guys. Well, thanks for joining me. See you next time on Talking Timelines. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Disclaimer: the content in this podcast is intended for educational and informational purposes only. The views, opinions, and information shared do not necessarily represent those of the hosts, but is provided for additional perspectives. None of the hosts are medical professionals, so we do not dispense medical advice. Please consult your healthcare professional for any health-related issues. And thank you for listening to Talking Timelines.